Buongiorno, mi amico. I butchered that so badly. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Christopher J. Spies of the Who Dat Weekly. We're back, baby, and we're inching so much closer to football season. And today's conversation and podcast, same thing, is going to be a good one. We'll be talking about the 53-man roster very shortly and my thoughts on who will make it and who's out. Tune in into this episode on the Who Dat Weekly. Hit it, boys. Welcome to the Who Dat Weekly, featuring the Dirty Dev's finest, Christopher J. Spies. How is everybody doing today? I am so happy to be back, y'all. I've been taking a little extra time, a little longer than I wanted to. Had some things happen here and there after Italy, but I'll not going to worry about that later. But we're back, baby. We're back talking more Saints football for you guys, and just so you know it. What's up, Uncle Tim? I see you in the comment section. How you doing, my brother? I'm doing just dandy. I'm about to go brief, quick, how things went in Italy real quick, and then we would start talking some football. But I'm so happy to be back, y'all. I'm ready to talk some more Saints football because just so you know, training camp is just around the corner. And I started thinking to myself, you know what? Will be a great conversation starter is talking about the 53-man roster prediction. So this is tonight's episode. We'll be primarily talking about that. We're going to be eyeing on some specific players, on who's in and who's out. My predictions, of course. And, of course, we'll talk about the Cam Jordan sign. Yes, I know we're a couple weeks late on that, but I don't care. I'm going to talk about it anyway. So with that being said, let's get the show rolling, y'all. All right, so real quick, I just want to say I had the most fantastic time in Italy. Oh, by the way, shout out to a little sweetheart named Louisa. She's an absolute doll. I met her in Italy while I was there. She's the most beautiful Italian woman I ever met. I will never forget her. Just saying. Anyway, enough about that. But in Italy, it was such a great time. My cousin's wedding was absolutely perfection. It was so beautiful. It was at a freaking castle of all places. Can you believe that? Maybe one day I'll show y'all pictures. But if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or one or the other, I might post something there. Who knows? So anyway, but Italy, fantastic, or as they say, molto bene, grazie. So y'all can tell I spend way too much time in Italy. So anyway, with that being said, let's go get the show rolling, y'all. All right, so today we're gonna it's very brief. Go through the Saints' updated free agent moves. We're also going to talk about the Saints 53-man roster preview. I even took some time to make a a sheet so I can go over with you guys on the current roster that we have right now. We're going to talk about who's in, who's out, and then we're going to also talk about some training camp battles to look out for, who's hot and who's not. So, first things right off the bat, and yes, I already mentioned I'm a couple weeks late, is the Saints did re-sign Cam Jordan to a one-year deal, and I have to say I am very thankful that he is back because, he's a vital piece to the defense. And yes, sure, I kind of flirt with the idea that maybe we were better off, just starting completely fresh, getting somebody new, maybe somebody could fill his shoes. But let's be honest, y'all. He had a fantastic season last year. He didn't look like he aged a bit. The age was definitely a factor in if I really wanted him back or not. But regardless, the Saints thought it was necessary to bring him back, especially since we lost Mario Davis, we lost Alontae Taylor. We lost some key defensive leaders on defense this past season to this offseason. So it was definitely necessary to bring Cam Jordan back. And I think with his leadership and his veteran presence on the team, especially with a really young defense and development, this is going to help this defense take it to the next level under his guidance. So, and assumingly this is going to be his last year, which is going to be really sad. I need to get his jersey before he retires, but it's going to be great to see him back in black and gold all over again for one more ride, and hopefully, I don't know if it'll happen, but hopefully we'll get him into the playoffs at least one more time. If it even happens, maybe to the Super Bowl, who knows? So we'll cross that bridge later. So, but with that being said, that's pretty much it for free agent moves. Now I'm gonna go ahead and switch screens for you guys. I have a whole. I took a lot of time to make this current roster, and I have two different versions. I have a roster that is current, with the current 94, 95 players that's currently on it, and then I have another one that's my predictions for who's making the team and who's not. So, of course, this is way too early to tell because obviously we haven't hit training camp yet. That happens in a couple weeks. But in the meantime, let me go ahead and get this screen going for you. All right, so as you guys can see, I really took some thought and process into this. So I have myself a little weekly camp tracker. It goes by week, like week 1, week 2, etc. And from here, you can see big winners and big losers, toughest cut, and who makes the 53 count. So, and if y'all can you even see the legend, it's a little hard to tell. Well, my little can't. In fact, let me see if I can actually fix that. Can I fix it? No. Okay, don't worry about that. All right. So, in this I put a legend here, and I'll just read it for you guys real quick. The 1S means starter. The 1S/2S means starter rotation. Now, this is a rare thing that I put in this roster book that I created because it mainly applies to Cam Jordan and Alvin Kamara because, they're both veterans and they're probably not likely to get all the snaps that they usually get because of their age and their declining physicality and whatnot. So I put that as like a rotation for them specifically. So that's probably the only two players in particular that will get that specific number. But anyway, keep moving on to 2S, which is backup/rotation. That's for anybody who's like a backup and who's constantly in rotation with the starters. And then 2s and 3s, that's like a developmental rotation/backup, so to speak. 3s, obviously, third string backup. And then 3SST, that's third string backup and special teams. They're backup, but also playing special teams. They're like a starter for special teams. 3SSTPS, that means third string plus special teams and potential practice squad. Because these guys might be on the practice squad, but let's say an injury happens and they're right into the third string lineup, most likely, unless for some bizarre reason they're automatic starts, which hardly ever happens in the NFL. So obviously SD means special teams, and then last but not least, C/PS means cut or practice squad, whichever happens first. So now that you guys know the legend behind this chart, we're going to go ahead and go through each list. So we're going to start with quarterbacks. I think quarterbacks are pretty self-explanatory. So we got Tyler Shough, who's definitely a starter for certain. There's no question about that. The really interesting case here is Spencer Rattler and Zach Wilson. We're going to talk about that in just a moment, but I'm going to go through this real quick. Hunter Dekkers, he's on the team again briefly. He was actually on the team very briefly as well last season, but he didn't make the team whatsoever. But I think he was a practice squad quarterback as well. So he's still viable to an extent, but as far as him making the actual roster, not happening. So, anyway, moving on to running backs. So we have Alvin Kamara, Travis Etienne, Audric Estime, Ty Chandler, Devin Neal, Kendre Miller, and C.J. Donaldson, who's a rookie. And I'll go through each one of them individually. I'm just showing y'all who's on the team currently. Then we move on to receiver room. We got Chris Olave, Jordan Tyson, Devon Vele, Mason Tipton, Kevin Austin Jr., Jalen Polk, Marion Brown, Bryce Lance, Ronnie Bell. God, how many receivers do we have in this team? Anyway, Bub Means, Damian Alford, Jalen Moreno Cropper, Trey Palmer, Brock Rechsteiner, who's a very fascinating player that I would definitely want to talk about later in this video. So, moving on to tight ends, we got Juwan Johnson, Noah Fant, Maluki Mataveo, I can't say that 5 times fast, Oscar Delp, Trayton Welch, Zaire Mitchell Payton, Cody Hardy, who's a rookie on this team. Oh, Oscar Delp is also a rookie as well. So, offensive line, we got Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, David Edwards, Dylan Randon. In fact, you know what? Why bother just talking through the whole thing? Y'all can just probably see it for yourselves. So, but overall, just to depict on where everybody currently stands, and this kind of took me a little additional research, but as y'all can see, well, you all see, like, say, the ones going down to the bottom. This is where everybody kind of currently stands, and some of these are actually some of my own predictions. So, as you can see, like, say, Cooley McKinstry, obviously he's a starter, but compare that to, like, say, Lorenzo Styles Jr., who's a rookie that we got in this past draft. He's a third string, potential third string, potential special teams playmaker, something of the sort. So, and then specialists, I mean, obviously, Charlie Smith, Ryan Wright, Zach Wood, Tanner Brown, and Mason Shipley, they're all those guys. So, but, yeah, anyway, so going back up here. So let's start with the quarterbacks, obviously. I think I actually know. Well, let's not do the quarterbacks. We already talked about that. So, Alvin Kamara. I put him as a 1S, 2S role on the team because not only is he obviously the most gifted, most special player on this team, but he's also getting old. He's slowing down. We saw that last season. He's also very injury plagued. But it doesn't mean he's not going to be a starter for this team. So, but he's going to be one of those rotational stars, and that's where Travis Etienne gets into the air. And I put him as a 1S because I feel like there's going to be some moments throughout the season where he might actually be a starter, especially if Alvin Kamara goes down again with another injury. You just never know. So, and I'm going to, before I talk about the rest of these backup players, I'm going to go through the obvious starters. Chris Olave, obviously. Jordan Tyson, most likely. Devon Vele, definitely one of them. And those are probably the first 3 starting receivers, I would imagine. And then we go to tight ends. We have Juwan Johnson, obviously, and then Noah Fant right behind them. And offensive line, we got Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, and did I really put 1S, 2S there? That should not have been there. My bad, y'all. Anyway, but David Edwards, he's there too. And then as y'all can see, like each position group, this is like the entire offensive line, so they don't have like specific, like, say, offensive guard or right tackle or anything like that. But I've listed them based off their rank from last season. And Kelvin Banks Jr. obviously is a 1. Telly Azefuega is a 1. And then so on. So defense, Nathan Shepard's a 1. Brian Brzee is a 1. Devon Godshaw's a 1, I believe. I think that sounds pretty correct to me. Chase Young is a 1. Carl Granderson is definitely a 1. And so on. Linebackers, we got Caden Ellis, who's replacing Demario Davis. He's a 1. Pete Werner, he's a 1. And so forth. Secondary, we got Cooley McKinstry as a 1. Quincy Riley as a 1. Isaac Yiadom, Oh, not actually. Excuse me, wrong guy. Justin Reed, all the safeties, and then that's about it. Oh, and specialist, obviously Charlie Smith. I assume he's gonna be the starting kicker for next season. Ryan Wright, starting punter, and Zach Wood, long snapper. So there you have it, and that's that's my projected starters for next season. So let's go ahead and talk about who's in and who's out. So, all right, so let's start with the quarterback battle. Spencer Rattler versus Zach Wilson. I think now a lot of people are probably automatically ruling out Zach Wilson. I might be the odd man out here. Now, this is going to be a bit of a hot take. But, yes, Spencer Rattler definitely deserved his role as the backup quarterback from last season after how he performed. But Zach Wilson, he was a former first-round draft pick. Granted, he has gone through a series of unfortunate events with the New York Jets. But Zach Wilson and Spencer Rattler, I think, could be a very fascinating quarterback battle to watch because Zach Wilson has tendencies to be good. And I say that very, very conservatively. But Spencer Rattler, there's some things about him that I just didn't care for last season, even though I was very vocal and supportive about him. I'm still is, don't get me wrong, but there's some things I think Zach Wilson might just be better at. And from what I've heard from reports in minicamp, Zach Wilson has done slightly better than Spencer Rattler from what I heard. So this is going to be an interesting battle to see who really stands out as the backup to Tyler Shuck. So, do I have a personal preference on who wins this quarterback battle, backup quarterback battle? I would prefer Spencer Rattler, but it would not surprise me if Zach Wilson actually. It would not surprise me if he wins this quarterback battle, and I think that could be a very interesting thing to witness here is if Zach Wilson actually does win out the second string backup. But we shall see. As far as Hunter Deckers goes, he's probably gonna be practice squad over again. I would not be surprised about that. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and move on to running backs real quick. So, as mentioned, Alvin Kamara, Travis Etienne, they're most likely to be the first string starters, whether they're rotating or not. Now, the big question here that a lot of people are talking about is this really crowded backup room for running backs. Now, it's always a good thing to have a lot of backups, but it's also like, who do you pick and choose? Now, personally, for me, as y'all can see, I think right about here, Kendre Miller, I put him as a cut/practice squad guy. I'm sorry, like that might disappoint a couple Saints fans, but Kendre Miller has had 3-4 years, and he has done absolutely nothing with us. Like, literally, he's done nothing with us. What more are we expecting from him? He shows his explosiveness, but then he gets injured too quickly. Like, it's the injury history that bothers me so much that I just can't see him making a team. Now, of course, I'm not the coach. I'm not the GM. They might actually still keep him because he might still have some value, but I just don't see that happening. C.J. Donaldson, who's a rookie. I don't know a whole lot about him. I need to do a little background research, see how good this guy is. But C.J., I put him temporarily as a cut/practice squad until I see him in action. Now, I should probably put a little note for a lot of y'all who are tuning into this episode. Again, this is all way too early predictions for a lot of these players. So anyone that has like a cut/practice squad or a third string/special team tag to them, this is just for temporary until preseason happens. Then we really start to say, okay, who's really shining, who's really not shining, who's been an absolute dud, who's the son of the sky, if that makes any sense. So as of right now, this is who I think is getting cut, and this is who I think is either making practice squad or his third string. So as of right now, Ty Chandler, now I think he's going to be more on the special team side of things. He came from the Vikings this offseason. We signed him to, I think, a 1 or 2 year deal. I forget how long it's been. But Ty Chandler, I would presume he's going to be like the kickoff return guy or even the punt return guy because he's got that skill level to where he's able to do kickoff and punt returns. So that would be useful there. Audric Estime can definitely make an argument to why he should make this team for next season. He showed some good stuff towards the end stretch of last season. I was very and highly impressed with Audric Estime. Like he had some nice big runs, and he was a very bullish running back who can actually bulldoze his way through if he ever wanted to. Is he obviously the best running back on this team? Absolutely not. No. Then it comes to Devin Neal. Now, Devin Neal showed some good stuff, but then he got injured. So, but I'm not giving up on him just yet because I've seen him play at Kansas, and he was an absolute dog for Kansas. So I think if it came down to a challenger for, say, running back 3, it would be between Audric Estime and Devin Neal. That's just my hot take for the moment, and that could definitely change in due time. So, and yes, Jerry, excuse me, I don't think Miller's making this team at all. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and move on to receivers. So this one is going to be fascinating because, I mean, look how many receivers we got. A good chunk of them are rookies. Jordan Tyson's a rookie. Barian Brown's a rookie. With Bryce Lance is a rookie, and then this Brock Rechsteiner guy, who I think is a off-season pickup. Well, not off-season. An undrafted pickup, I believe. He's a rookie as well. So we have a lot of rookies on this team, and we definitely need the depth. We certainly got that. But the question remains, who is going to be receivers 5, 6, and below? So, now, I'm going to go ahead and start with the ones that I feel like are pretty obvious. I think Damian Alford's not making this team. And that, of course, that could change. I got to see how he does. But these are guys I've just straight up never heard of before, and they just sound like obvious cut candidates. Jalen Moreno Cropper is a cut candidate, maybe practice squad. I highly doubt it, though. Now, Trey Palmer, hear me out. I put him as a cut/practice squad candidate only because he didn't play a whip and snap last season. But I've been hearing from Nick Underhill and company, the Saints beat reporters, that he has actually been really solid in minicamp so far, which is huge. Apparently, he had like 9 straight targets thrown by Tyler Shough to him, and that tells me there might be a little connection going on between the two of them. So his status may change when preseason kicks in or really training camp kicks in. We got to see how the two of them start to gel. Now, why did he not play last season? That I don't know, because I always thought he was really solid with the Buccaneers. That's where he last came from, but who knows, man? Who knows? So, as of right now, he is a cut/practice squad candidate until further notice. So, now let me talk about Brock Rechsteiner. He's an interesting candidate to make this team mainly because he's related to this WWE wrestling dude or something of the sort, and he's already got Saints fans' attention just simply being himself. And now I haven't personally witnessed his skill level on the field yet, but from what I've heard, he's been okay-ish. That's why I put him as a potential third-string/practice squad candidate. And maybe once we actually see him in action, he might just make the team. You never know. But again, we still got some time before we actually talk about this sort of thing. So, but just his presence alone, it's already giving Saints fans a lot of hype, and they freaking love this guy. I mean, I've seen his Instagram posts from the Saints, and not gonna lie, I'm kind of buying into the hype. So, but anyway, so moving on from Brock, couple guys who I feel like probably won't make the team, but they might be practice squad guys, is Bub Means. I kind of feel bad for Bub Means. Bub Means showed some nice promise early on in his young career, but he didn't show up at all last season. I think he was actually on the practice squad as well last season, and he might still be on the practice squad this year. Who knows? But the guy has just been a non-factor ever since Tyler Shough and Coach Kellen Moore came into the picture. He has not stepped foot on the field at all, and why he hasn't, I don't know. To me, he has a lot of nice talent to where he could be a reliable receiver 6 or receiver 5 kind of player. But I'm not the coach. I don't make these decisions. But from what I've seen, I think he's solid. But I'm not giving up on him just yet. But if he doesn't make this team again for a second year in a row, I feel like his time with the New Orleans Saints is gonna be cut short. So, now let me talk about Jalen Polk for a second. He was a guy that we actually traded with the Patriots last season. He was on IR the entire rest of the season. And at first I was questioning it, but now I'm starting to see why. Unfortunately, I feel like, and I put him as a 2s and 3s kind of guy as of right now, but from what I heard, he hasn't established a good enough connection with Tyler Shough or any quarterback as of yet on this roster. So it has me thinking maybe he might be dropping down some on this list. So as far as, like, say, Barian Brown, he's a rookie. I think he's going to be definitely on the special teams for, like, punt returns and whatnot. So I think he's pretty secure there. Bryce Lance, I could definitely see him making the team, but I could also see him being a practice squad guy because he's basically, as Taylor Moore has already mentioned, that he's more like a developmental kind of guy. He doesn't have that physical fit of a NFL receiver just yet, but he has the talent and the skill level to be one. But he just needs to, in a sense, I guess, bulk up and also get adjusted to the NFL playing lifestyle, so to speak. So, Ronnie Bell, he showed up like late last season, and he's probably going to remain a practice squad guy or even a special teams guy. And I think that's about it. Devon Vele, I assume he's going to be a starter next season. Mason Tipton, and Kevin Austin Jr., they probably stay where they're at as a 2s or right receivers 5 and 6 to them. So, but yeah, so that's the receivers end of things. So let's go ahead and talk about tight ends. Tight ends is kind of fascinating. So we have Juwan Johnson, most likely the starting tight end on this team. Noah Fant right behind him. Now, I've been hearing a lot of good reports about Maliki Matavio. Now, I was a little shocked because last season he didn't do a whole lot. And granted, he was a rookie last season, so there's that. But they're saying that he seems like he's taken a leap forward from last season to this season in a really good fashion, where he might just be solidifying that 3 spot, or even just simply special teams like he did last season. Oscar Delp not too far behind him. Oscar Delp has shown that physicality he had when he was in Georgia, which is a good sign to see. And I feel that this list is pretty solid to where it stands at as of now. Now, again, things could change. You just never know with NFL training camps, with rosters and everything of the sort. So the battle here for tight end, I would say at the 3rd string, is going to be between Maliki Matavio and Oscar Delp. That's who I think is going to be fighting for that 3 spot. And if I had to ask who has the edge, I'm going to say Matavio has the edge because he's got the hot hand right now. Delp, he needs a little more time to adjust to everything. Excuse me. But everybody else, either special teams or you're just a cut candidate. So anyway, I think offensive line kind of speaks for itself. I'll go over it real quickly with you guys. So, obviously, the starters on the O-line should be Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, David Edwards, Talieza Fuega, and Kelvin Banks Jr. So, now the question comes to who's going to be backing those guys up. Let's talk about the backup to Eric McCoy. So, technically, Cesar Ruiz could be that backup, but I haven't seen him actually step foot in that just yet. But I would say backup to Eric McCoy, a good candidate in my opinion would be either Dylan Randuns, who was kind of solid last season, or Torricelli Simpkins III. One of those 2 guys I feel like could be solid backups to Eric McCoy if he were ever to go down again. Because he's been down. He's gone down with an injury the last 2-3 seasons now. It just feels like it's expected at this point, which really sucks because we all know Eric McCoy is a Pro Bowler. He's one of the all-time best Saints linemen we've ever drafted, and it just sucks that he's kind of like going down this trajectory where he's just constantly injured year after year after year. We're hoping this year is different. We'll see about that. So, but I think another position battle in regards to Cesar Ruiz is the battle between Where's his name? He's the rookie that we just picked up. Let's see. Did I not put his name on here? Crap. I think I might have forgot to add him. Whoops. Okay. Well, so there was that Auburn guy who we picked up in the draft. Did I really not add his name? Dang, man. I hate when I do that to myself. I had it all organized and everything, man. That kind of blows. Let me make sure he didn't, get put in the wrong categories. You never know. Making this list took me a while, so I do apologize for the stumblingness. But yeah, it didn't add him at all. Whoopsies. Okay, well, anyway, so to dumb it down, it was this Auburn guy whose name it slips my mind, and I had the list on here, but unfortunately, it's not on here. So, but I feel like Cesar Ruiz's position as a starter could be in jeopardy over one particular thing. Is that he's not been consistent. He's always been injury prone, and his blocking has been subpar for the most part. He has his good games, but he also has his bad games. And then here comes this Auburn guy who has a potential to actually take away his spot, or really, maybe better yet, Torricelli Simpkins III, whichever one happens first. That's a battle I would definitely like to see. Because, to me, I feel like Cesar Ruiz is going to be out the door very soon. But time will tell on if that happens or not. So, but anyway, I got to make sure I fix that list for next time. Because we're going to be discussing what changes have happened, who's hot and who's not, and all that. As training camp goes by and preseason wraps up, because we'll be updating this every single week. We'll be projecting okay, this person just leapfrogged this person got demoted, etc., etc. So, defensive line and edge, we're gonna try and go through this pretty quickly, y'all. So as far as backups go, I feel like a good battle to really look out for is Kristen Miller, who we got from Georgia this past draft, and then Vernon Broughton, who we got from last year's draft. Vernon Broughton never really got to see the field because he got injured too early last season. And so I would like to see who really stands out the most between Vernon Broughton and Christian Miller. Those two in particular, I feel it could be eye-worthy targets to keep an eye on, because Kristen Miller has a lot of talent to be playing defensive line, edge, etc. But Vernon Broughton, he was a part of one of Texas's best defenses from just 2 years ago in their playoff run. So it's like, who's going to really stand out? And funny enough, these two guys went against each other. That's even funnier. So this is going to be a very interesting battle to really witness. Now, an underdog to really look out for here is Xavier Harris from Ole Miss. Yes, I know, I had to bring my Ole Miss guy up, but he's was one of the best SEC linemen from last season, and he put up numbers consistently. Was he the best? Maybe not top dog best or anything like that, but he was in the best in the SEC. But I feel like he's an underrated name that nobody's really paying attention to because he's an undrafted free agent, and we picked him up this past draft, well, post-draft that is. So he is somebody we definitely should look out for. Now, there's another guy on here who we should also look out for is JVR Suggs. Now, I list him at the moment as a potential third string or cut or practice squad guy. This guy came from LSU, and I saw his tape. He had some pretty solid stuff at LSU. So the bigger question is, will he actually make the team? I feel like Xavier Harris is better than him, but only time will tell. So those are some key matchups I think would be interesting to see. Now, last but not least, I want to see how Tyree Wilson, who we got from Oakland in a trade during this past draft, we got Tyree Wilson, who's basically getting a fresh start on this team. He's getting a whole new outlook, a whole new defense. How would this guy do now that he's on a new team? Somebody definitely to keep an eye out for, because he was a high first round draft pick by the Oakland Raiders back 3 years ago, I think it was, maybe 4 years ago. I forgot how long he's been in the NFL, but he's been around long enough to where he had high expectations by the Raiders, but he did not meet those expectations. So now I've seen all over Instagram where they're just like dog crapping all over him because they think he sucked. So, but it'd be the funniest thing ever if he just rose from the ranks of the roster that we have at the moment and maybe be a potential second string rotational kind of player. I could see that happening, honestly. But it all just depends on how well he gels with this new defense that we got. Well, it's not new for us; it's new for him. So that's a couple guys definitely we should keep an eye out for. Yeah, and a couple cut candidates in my opinion. I think Michael Heldman. I know he's a rookie, but he might be practice squad worthy. Who knows? And then Fadil Diggs, he did nothing for us last season. And granted, he was a rookie last year, so. But he also had some injury problems early on, too, so that kind of sucks. Now let's go ahead and talk about the linebackers. So linebackers, we got Caden Ellis and Pete Werner as the obviously starters for the defense. Danny Stutzman's going to be a nice rotational player, and I have high hopes for Danny Stutzman. He did some good stuff last year as well. Isaiah Stallberg, guy to definitely look out for again, because he was really pretty good towards the end stretch of the last season. And he was actually pretty good during preseason last season. Well, he did some really nice stuff. And the fact that he was able to like do a mini breakout, so to speak, for last season, I got some good high hopes for him. Jayla Ford, I think he might be third string. And then this Jackson Sermon guy, I don't know who he is. I put him as a cut candidate. Maybe practice squad. Maybe, just maybe third string guy potentially. So anyway, all right, so bear with me guys, we're almost through this video, but I do appreciate y'all tuning into this. So but I know my camera here is kind of blocking some of the names here, so I'm just reading it for you guys anyway. So moving on to secondary, last but not least. So Kool-Aid McKinstry, Quincy Riley, I think are both starters for the cornerback slot, and then Justin Reed, safety, self-explanatory. Now, the big question I have here is how well can Julian Blackmon do? We saw him play a few times last season, but I'm not sure how well he's going to stick out now that we have a pretty crowded secondary back room, as y'all can see. I would like to say he definitely has the edge over, say, players like Lorenzo Styles Jr. and Terrell Burgess, and also T.J. Hall, who I think he's a rookie this year. I forgot to label it. But T.J. Hall, I think, might be more of a practice squad. But I would say Julian Blackmon, if he can, play to the level he was playing briefly last season, I think he has a good shot at maybe taking over from Quincy Riley. Now, will that actually happen? I don't know. Now, something about Jonas Sanker that I heard from the experts is that he's been taking a lot of reps at the one spot, which is very fascinating to hear about, because last season he was just a rotational backup rookie player who did very well. Now he's getting first-string reps, which has me wondering, are they just like preparing for, say, if Justin Reed goes down again, which I hope not, but it's very interesting to see. Or maybe they're just coming up with new defensive schemes that have like two safeties or something like that. Who knows? But Jonas Sanker is a very good, very skilled, very talented safety who did so well last season. I was so proud of him because he was such a good player to pick up from last year's draft. So I have high hopes for him. Beanie Bishop Jr., I've heard some good things from him as well. He's been doing some really good defensive coverages in mini camp so far. Jaden Price, same thing. So as of right now, I could see them making practice squad, or not practice squad, maybe third string or special teams at the moment. So, but yeah. So overall, this is who we got. So this is who we got currently, and yeah. So now, who do I think makes the 53-man roster? So let me see if I can find the list here real quick. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna switch screens real quick here. So for the 53-man roster, I think it's gonna be on the offensive line in particular. It's gonna be Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, Dylan Randon, Asim Richards, and then we get a cornerback. We got Kool McKinstry, Quincy Riley, Isaiah Yadam, Jordan Howden, and Martin Emerson. That's such a guy I forgot to mention. He's a guy who we should definitely look out for as well. Defensive line, we got Nathan Shepard, Brian Brzee, John Ridgway, Christian Boyd, and Christian Miller. And this is all rough, too early to tell picks that I'm making to make the team. Edge is Cameron Jordan, Chase Young, Carl Granderson, Tyree Wilson. Defensive tackle, Devon Gottschalk, Xavier Harris. Linebacker, we got Caden Ellis, Pete Werner, Danny Stutzman, Isaiah Stallbird. At guard, we got David Ellis and Torrey Simpkins the third. Running back, Alvin Kamara, Travis Etienne, Ty Chandler, and Devin Neal. Quarterback, Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler, Zach Wilson. Tackle, Kelvin Banks Jr., Talieza Fuega, Easton Kilty, Barry Wesley. I don't know who. I just picked and choose with that guy. Safety, we got Justin Reed, Julian Blackman, and Jonas Sanker. Receiver, we got Chris Olave, Jordan Tyson, Devon Bailey, Mason Tipton, Kevin Austin Jr., Trey Palmer, and Barian Brown. Tight end, Juwan Johnson, Noah Fant, and Moliki Matavio. And I don't need to mention the special team guys. So that is my way too early prediction for the 53-man roster. What do you guys think about this prediction? Do you all have any concerns? Do you all have any differences y'all want to comment below about? I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts and everything. So thank y'all again for tuning into this video. I think I'm going to wrap it up here tonight, y'all. Thank y'all so much. I'm so glad to be back. Can't wait to talk some more football with you guys in the coming weeks. And I can't wait for football to start nonetheless. Till then, I'll catch you guys later. Who dat?
Hey Gates, you are the savior.